Thank you so much for being here. You are not one for doing a lot of cons. I know we met in St. Louis. Is this your second one officially, or how many have you done, and how do you feel about the convention scene?
Second one, yeah.
Yeah, my gosh. It's a whirlwind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got a lot of questions out there, and we have a very limited time, so I definitely want to get to those questions in a second. But you've had such a prolific career, and we'll get to the fan faves in a bit. But I would love to hear how you started, because I started in theater myself. I know you started in theater and studied theater, so I'd love to hear a little about your early start as an actor in theater, then how that eventually transitioned into British television and film, and then eventually into Hollywood.
I guess I started quite late, really, because I was about 19 or 20 when I got interested in acting.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, or I wasn't really very good at the things I did want to do. I kind of slipped into it accidentally, and it felt great when I was doing it. I went to a college in Rotherham, where I first started acting, really, on an acting course, and then I went from that onto ROD, Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, and from then on, I was really happy with myself, and it felt quite good.
Yeah, what was the point? I mean, because when you're a theater lover, when you're a lover of theater and you're a theater actor, that's your thing. You love getting in front of the live audience and performing. And you did mostly classical work to start. Is that right?
Yeah, I left drama school, I left RADA, and then I went and did a very small play, Romeo and Juliet, with about 6 characters in it. We're all doubling up, and then I went to Glasgow Citizens Theatre, which was a wonderful experience. There were people like Gary Oldman and Kieran Hines and lots of good people like that. Yeah. So that was a very interesting kind of period of time. That was about 1985, 84, 85. Yeah. And then Royal Shakespeare Company. So I did quite a lot of theatre before I did much television or film, really. And that was a great kind of grounding. It was a great time to kind of experiment and try things out without being up on the big screen. It was just a learning process, and I'm really pleased that I had that kind of, I came from that kind of theatrical background, if you like, and because it gives you, you feel as though it gives you a lot of stability and a lot of strength for the future.
Do you feel like the theater is the thing that you would always come back to? Because I know you've done it recently and been able to go back and play some really seminal roles, in Shakespeare and in just classic roles in general. So do you feel like that's where you're always drawn back to, or is there another medium that you enjoy more out of all of them?
I've not done any theatre for about 14 years. Wow. Which is probably too long, really. I guess it's just a totally different kind of. It's not a totally different thing. You get a buzz from theatre, but you also you can also get tired of it if you're doing like 360 performances, right. And you're kind of halfway through. And so there is that initial joy and rush of adrenaline and euphoria. But I kind of get that feeling by doing television and films now, and so I don't know. There's nothing like a live audience,
sure,
like this.
What was the transition like at the time? I know you got involved in British television and film to start. I'd love to hear sort of about that, like how you wound up transitioning from theater and then eventually made your way to the States, into Hollywood.
Well, I was doing theatre, and then some people see you, and then there were just small television roles,
right.
And I think the first one I was playing some guy who robbed a post office in London, and I really enjoyed it, and I guess I was only 22, 23, and you throw everything into your work, and you're kind of just looking for work, looking for something to kind of further your career and give you more experience. So I guess it was a very kind of slow process. I did a lot of television, then I started doing films. I got some good breaks in films with a film called Stormy Monday and Patriot Games, and it kind of built up from there. And so I've not really noticed a big transition. I'm just feel very fortunate that I've been able to have the opportunities that I have. And after starting off, wanting to be an actor on stage and seeing it kind of progress, I'm very aware of that. And I'm very grateful for it. Yeah.
Some of my earliest forays into your big breaks, which are some of my favorite films of all time. You mentioned one of them, Patriot Games, and of course 006 and GoldenEye. Give a round of applause for that. I just remember seeing them they were relatively back to back. I think within like 2 or 3 years of each other, and I just thought to myself at the time, like, this guy, this is him. This is the new villain. This is gonna be our new British villain. You know what I mean? How was it like getting involved with those productions?
Oh, it was great, to be involved with GoldenEye, a James Bond film, playing the bad guy, 006. It was, quite an experience, and it was the first time Pierce Brosnan had starred as James Bond, so it was an exciting time. You're not really aware of when you're making these films like Bond films and Lord of the Rings. You're not aware of the kind of epic kind of size of the project that you're on. It's only when it comes out and you see it on screen and you see all the kind of work that went into it that you realise you were on it. It's a good job we don't know how big they are, because I've been shitting myself if I billions of people. Yeah.
Well, at the time, GoldenEye, that, like you said, it was Bond had not been around for a while. It was such a huge series, you know what I mean? And so you guys were basically reinventing it, but you didn't feel that pressure at the time. Had you been a Bond fan, like growing up, just seeing the films and such?
I had, but I wasn't a massive Bond fan.
Right.
I was, I kind of guess I watched them when they were on at Christmas and things like that. Dad took me to see a few Bond films when I was a kid and stuff like that. So I was always aware of it. But you think sometimes you realise the magnitude and how kind of widespread and that your face is going to be shown, and that just how big these productions are. And they just kind of seem to get bigger and bigger, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But at least there was some acting in GoldenEye.
And one of the greatest video games of all time as well. So you're represented in 3D for everyone to see as well.
Yeah. It's supposed to be good, isn't it, that game? So I've got a square head in it.
Yeah, exactly. It was cutting edge at the time,
yeah.
Well, let's get to some questions. We've got a lot of people standing here waiting in line that I sure want to hear some stuff from you. So let's start over here on the side. Yeah.
Okay, my question is, if you had to pick like a sigil and a motto for House Bean, what would it be?
So for your own personal house, if there was a House Bean, right? So like House Stark and House Targaryen, what would your signal be? And then also a saying, right? Maybe? Is that? Yeah. Do you have it?
My signal.
Your signal, yeah.
Sigil.
Actual,
your sigil.
Sigil. I know. It's true.
Oh, my sign.
Yeah. It's your coat of arms, if you will.
Haricot bean, broad bean, and a bean.
Just like a green bean.
Yeah. A string bean, a runner bean. Yeah. That'd be my sign.
Yeah.
Sigil. And I don't know what my saying would be. Maybe I've been and gone.
What's great about that is the setup of just like seeing the image of the green bean, but then having such a beautiful saying.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey.
If you had to die like one character you've played, which death would you choose?
Yeah. I don't know, because they've all been really horrible, violent. I was trying to think of the most serene and kind of peaceful. It's horrible.
Was there a scene? Maybe I'm curious as like a follow-up. Was there a fun death scene that like particularly stands out from any of the movies as like fun to shoot or like fun to be a part of around set?
I wouldn't say they were fun.
Interesting.
There was a few, yeah. I'm trying to think of. Can anybody remember if I?
Some of our favorites.
It sounds a horrible thing to say, but I can't remember if I died peacefully.
Boromir's was pretty epic. You got to admit. Because he was
it was quite peacefully. He was quite heroically, and I think he knew his fate, and I think he was quite okay with that. And so I thought that was quite, he wanted that to happen, I think. To atone his sins.
Well, exactly, because he has that moment of revelation. That's what's so beautiful about how it was depicted in the movie. Not a knock against the books, you know what I mean? But in the books, you hear about it through other characters. In the movie, we get to see it live, and your like portrayal of that moment really felt like he was a human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he thought he'd not overstep the mark, but I mean, he'd kind of shown his greed and his anger towards Frodo in that scene where he tries to steal the ring from him, and I think he's kind of. He kind of resigns himself to that he is mortal and that he's at peace with being kind of slaughtered, really, and strangely, yeah. And I think, it's a kind of acceptance, and I think especially with the scene with Vigo, and I kind of realise that I'm fading away and I'm going, and I just want to say I could have been a better man than I was, but. Bye-bye.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're going to kick,
I'm tearing up just listening to you speak about the scene. Thank you. Yeah. But, so it's funny. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've heard this a million times.
Always talking about death.
Yeah. Well, it's like, there's been a lot of memes made from you on the internet. One of them is the 1001 Ways to Die, right? One of my favorites is the One Does Not Simply, and then replacing Welcome to Mordor, and then Winter is Coming. Like, were you aware? Let's talk about the death ones. As the deaths started to rack up, how did you start to become aware of this, like, behind the scenes sort of people counting down your deaths?
Not really, no. Not since someone brought it to my attention, no.
Yeah.
And then I guess there was a video made, and they said that I died the most. I was the one who died the most. And they said I wasn't. Then they said Christopher Lee was recently.
Oh.
Which I find quite hard to believe.
Because you worked with the
I was leading, and unless Christopher Lee's been resurrected.
Too soon. Are you, it's now it's become a you didn't care about it at all, now maybe it's a little mild competition.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit pissed off.
You're going to have to start taking some other roles and just have death for you.
Yeah, exactly, just carry on the trend.
Amazing, thank you. Hey.
Do you have a favorite recollection from the set of Caravaggio, or any memories of working with Derek Jarman specifically?
Yes, I do. I have very kind of vivid and fond memories of working with Derek. He was an incredible filmmaker, and I met him in Charing Cross Road in London for my kind of interview for him for Caravaggio, and he was just an incredible individual with imagination. He was curious. I was inquisitive as to what he was interested in and what he wanted to portray on screen. And he was just different, and he experimented, and he was avant-garde. He really kind of asked a lot of questions, and that was an incredible experience to work with him, and to work with the other characters involved, like Tilda Swinton and Nigel Terry at the time. And I was only pretty young, early in my career, but so it left a big impression on me. Just his independent thought, he didn't conform to any kind of film, kind of theatrical standards. He made the story he wanted to make, and he was out there. He really was cutting edge, and it was scary and dangerous, and that's why I'll never forget it. He was an incredible man, An incredible film, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Over here.
Hi, Sean. Out of all the characters who have met their demise that you've played, is there one that you wish would have had a longer story, or you would have liked to have played longer?
Yeah, probably all of them.
You get paid the longer you're in something, right?
Yeah. I think, I guess with Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, I suppose, but I mean, there was nothing, you can really do about that, because the writers said that I must die at some point, and that's what I did. You can't really kind of change Tolkien's writing just because I want to be in the films a bit longer. There are roles that I think, like, I should have been in it a bit longer, and but then again, some of the directors and producers think, I wish we hadn't killed him off so early. So
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
Back at you. Yeah. What if they had changed the entire plot line of Lord of the Rings just so you could have stayed in it a little longer? We would have taken it. We would have accepted that amendment. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Hey.
They should get on with the jobs, you know. You think, well, okay, no, I'm waiting. Okay. Get killed off, it means I can do something else now.
Get killed off again and rack up the numbers,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like football managers again. They go to one job, then they get fired, then they go to another, they still get paid for it.
There you go.
Sorry.
What do you think that Boromir would have done with the ring if he stole it from Frodo?
This is the segue. This is if Boromir lived.
Yeah.
Where would he go?
I think at that moment in time, he probably wouldn't have used it very well. I can't imagine the state he was in. I don't think he would have been very... it would have been a very good thing for anybody, really. Because I think he was under a spell. I think he was in kind of trance and, you know, quite an evil kind of way. So I don't think it would have been good for him to have it. It might be good because I'd have been in the next 2 films. But I don't know what I'm doing with it.
Had you been a fan, we talked a little bit about Bond, but had you read the stories beforehand, like been a fan of the series as a whole? And, you know, how did you wind up auditioning for it or getting the role of Boromir and, like, you know, and all that?
I auditioned for Boromir and I met Peter Jackson in London and I just did that scene. The one where I tried to take the ring off Frodo, and I didn't think it was very good. It was just in this crappy little room in London, you know, not very kind of conducive to kind of much dramatic drama, really. But I must have done all right because I got the part of it. It was very strange doing it and doing it in front of Peter, and because he didn't give much away, you know. He just said, "Oh, yeah, great." And I was quite surprised when I got the part, I must say, you know, but I was absolutely over the moon as well, you know, really delighted.
Oh my gosh, how about then the transfer from Peter Jackson's apartment in London to New Zealand, beautiful New Zealand. My gosh, it had to be amazing when you were there to see, you know, the worlds come to life. Because, you know, at the time they were still shooting a lot on, you know, sets and movie sets and backlots and things like that. But, you know, Peter shot all on location and it had to be amazing. I'd love to hear a little about that.
Yeah, we shot all over New Zealand, and you know, it's the most beautiful countryside, and having, you know, that opportunity to get up every day, and we used to drive ourselves in and see these forests, and you know, I remember the glaciers when we were all walking over those mountains, and they used to get us in a helicopter and take us to these glaciers, which I wasn't too fond of, you know, because I'm not really, I wasn't really fond of flying in a glass kind of bottomed helicopter. I wasn't keen on flying at the time, but just to have the opportunity to work over there for a long period of time, for about a year, and to be involved most days, and we all, you know, got kind of camaraderie, and there was a kind of bond between us all, you know, especially the people in the Fellowship of the Ring. We had a great understanding and a great friendship, but just to have that opportunity to go to it, I mean, I've never been to New Zealand before. I didn't realise how big these films were going to become, and we were quite ordinary and kind of just got on with things, you know, and I think that was probably the right attitude, you know. As I said, if we'd have known how big it were, we might have been a little apprehensive, but...
Yeah, it felt, and I think we can all agree with that, you know, it felt like you were a genuine fellowship, you know, that you had come together under these strange circumstances, but were willing to make it work, and you can feel that in all your performances.
Yeah.
Especially having to be, like, up in these kind of treacherous, you know, sort of landscapes and situations, like you really did have to kind of bond and work together.
Yeah, at the end of Bond.
Bond.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we had a Bond, yeah.
I didn't say you had to get Bond, I just said you got Bond.
Oh, they Bond.
Awesome. Hey.
Hey, my question is there a star that you would like to see when you were younger?
A star?
Like an actor or an artist?
Yeah, there was quite a few. You know, one of the first stars I saw was Ian McKellen, and he was playing Macbeth. Up north, you know, where I come from in England, in Yorkshire, a place called Wath-upon-Dearne, which Ian and Judi Dench was playing Lady Macbeth, and I had to see that was quite incredible. So Ian McKellen was quite a hero of mine, and he still is. You know, I watched all that he did and all that he has done, and he's quite an incredible actor. Then there were people like John Hurt and Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, all of whom I got to work with. So it was that was quite an experience, meeting your heroes, and certainly when they live up to expectations as well, you know. Sometimes they seem larger than life, especially like someone like Richard Harris, but he actually is, and it's a wonderful job in that sense that you're able to meet your heroes and act with them and tell everyone that you
Yeah, my gosh, how was that?
Mum and Dad, you know.
I mean, how was that? Yeah, my gosh, on Lord of the Rings, I'm getting to work with Ian. You know what I mean? Did you tell him how big of an influence he was on your life growing up?
Yes, I did, and you know, he was. I mean, he's a lovely man. He's a great man, and very, very intelligent, very imaginative, and you know, and kind of very noble. And he comes from up north like me, and you know, I think I had quite a lot of common with him. And I liked his humour and his candidness, his honesty, and I like watching him, and I like how he phrases things, how he phrases his sentences, especially Shakespeare. Just he's very accomplished and very an incredible man to watch, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey.
This is so cool. You're like my favorite actor of all time. What's your favorite experiences in Lord of the Rings as acting as Boromir?
My favourite experiences in Lord of the Rings, I guess my death. I keep going back to that, but that was quite, you know, an experience, and I thought it worked out really well. You know, cinema-wise. But I don't know, with Lord of the Rings, it was like a dream in a sense. There were so many days and so many locations that we went to, and over such a long period of time that it's very difficult to kind of pick it apart and isolate anything. I suppose one of the most memorable experiences when we were in canoes going between those two massive valleys with the you know, the statues above. I can't remember what they're called now, but that was just so brilliant to film that, and you really got a sense of the epic quality of Lord of the Rings, and it was the real thing, as you said. Peter Jackson liked to try and use the locations as best he could, and just that moment, it just felt wonderful, it felt very peaceful, very epic, and I don't know, it's a great moment.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I said anything, I was just rowing. But in my heart now.
No, it's such a beautiful moment with the music and all, we're seeing all the characters, you know, and then it pulls away, and we're really getting the expanse of the world. And
that's
everything.
right,
Yeah, amazing. Hey.
Ned Stark, cheers.
Cheers.
In terms of like the final, you know, watching on the screen, what scene were you proudest of from season 1 of Game of Thrones?
I like the scenes with my kids, you know, with Sansa and Bran and stuff like that. I like the scenes with Mark Addy, the king, and they were very funny. And I've worked with Mark before, and he's a lovely man, and so they were quite memorable. And the scenes with Lena Headey and the connivers, you know, the kind of treacherous people in it. And I like the kind of mind games, the battles, and I just like the fact that Ned was kind of trapped by his obligations to the king, and he was torn between that and his family, and he made the wrong decision, I guess, at the end, because he found himself in a pit of vipers, you know, in a very treacherous kind of world, which he wasn't really equipped for. But I guess I'm just saying that it was that dichotomy of thinking, do I stand by my family, or do I go down there? And you know, how he was torn apart, and you know, how he was very vulnerable. very, very heroic. He was a good man. There's not very many of them in Game of Thrones, but he was a genuinely, he was a good, honourable guy, I think.
You mentioned the scenes with the very child actors at the time who have now grown up, my gosh, into the leads. And it's cool because you can see the father is still there, you know what I mean, in their character. Have you stayed up with the series, you know what I mean, and watched sort of their growth throughout it? Because again, it is amazing to watch the development and still feel, and then we're getting flashbacks to like young Ned Stark, you know what I mean? So it's nice to kind of see that loop happening now on the series.
Yeah, it's funny to see everyone, you know, growing up, and especially, you know, my kids, and it's great, and you know, it's something. I mean, it's over 7 years, you know, and so people started when they were like 11 and 12, and now they're 17 or 19. I mean, it's something that I kind of dip in and out of. I guess I just want to watch it properly, watch it the whole as a box set and watch it properly. But I do like to keep looking in and out, see what's happening, because it's a great series, and you know, I'm very proud to be involved, and it's just gone from strength to strength. But yeah.
Very nice, awesome. We only have time for a couple more questions. Let's start over here.
I was wondering, actually, one of your more lesser-known roles is as Sharp. And I was wondering if they were... Never mind. I was wondering if there was a possibility, because Hollywood is doing a lot of revisiting in the older things that have gone on the last 15 to 20 years or so. If you would be interested as kind of coming back to Sharp and revisiting that role and maybe passing on the torch or ending it completely, or what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for. I'm glad you like Sharp. I'm glad you all, you know. Yeah. Thank you very much. It was you know, it meant a lot to me. I played it for many, many years. But what do you mean handing the torch? You mean being in it for the first episode and then saying, right, it's all your responsibility to a younger actor?
Dies immediately while handing off a torch.
Yeah, that's what usually happens.
You mean Christopher Lee?
Yeah. No, I think I mean, it was a brilliant concept at the time, you know, and I was it was a fantastic, like, boys' own stuff. It was a very entertaining kind of drama, and I guess you'd have to think about it in a different kind of age, and I'm quite a few years older now. I don't think I'd be jumping around quite as lively as I was, you know, 25 years ago. But I mean, it's something that, you know, it means, you know, it's very close to my heart, Sharp, and it's a wonderful series. But I can't really see it coming back as. I think he was there, we did it, and like I said, been there, done that. Been a young.
We've got the Frankenstein Chronicles to enjoy right now with you, sir.
Hey. Hello, Sean. Right here.
Hiya.
One of the best actors I've ever seen in cinema in a long time, when it came from just your work with just as Boromir from Lord of the Rings, or Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. But my question is pretty much serious when it comes to Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you didn't die in that movie, and thank God you didn't. Because I kind of want to see if your character has one more hurrah, or at least there will be a Silent Hill 3. I'm not sure. Fans didn't take the second one very well, but what can you tell me about that?
Not a great deal, not about the third one, anyway. I mean, that was something that was interesting, and I quite like some of the kind of weird, you know, kind of perverted things that happen in the Silent Hill 1 and 2. Can't really see going into a third one, but I don't know. Who knows? It was fun to do, yeah.
Everybody just wants you back, Sean, in all the series that we love, you know? I'm still waiting for that Equilibrium reboot, too. That was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love that. Cool, I think we have time for one final question over here.
Okay, I actually was going to ask a Sharp question as well, but that was actually my weekend. But you've played like some spies before with like Legend, the short-lived series that I loved. But would you ever, since you were in Bond, did you ever consider maybe like going for Bond, or like going for Bond himself, or playing that role?
Well, I guess I thought, well, maybe I'd be okay for that. You know, I don't know. and there was some kind of talk about it at the time, quite a long time ago, but it didn't work out. And so they thought, well, give him 006 then, you know. So, but you know, obviously, I guess it's everybody's kind of dream to be able to play a part like James Bond, but I don't think it was my time, you know, at that time.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Are there any things you're looking forward to? Not necessarily specific roles or specific parts, but just things you're looking forward to in your career, things that you like the trend of and you want to continue moving on?
I like doing just different things, really, and maybe do some theatre, I don't know, or something, maybe comedy, but I don't know. Or, you know, just I'm doing at the moment, doing kind of animation and some voices for that, and I just think with the world we live in and the technology and everything now, there's some really quite interesting projects that actors can get involved with, and I just like doing different kind of genres of acting, really. So I just see what comes up. I'm always pleasantly surprised, and I like the unexpected in the sense that, you know, I don't have any projects that I think, right, that's what I'm going to do next. This is what I'm going to do in a few years. I just like to see what kind of hits me and what makes me tick and what makes me, you know, makes me excited, passionate. You know.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I know I speak for all the fans here when I say thank you for making Wizard World Philadelphia your second con of all time.